Greetings, greetings, family. We are live. Welcome, welcome to the Sister Shanice Show. It is Wednesday. And as you know, we are always just so privileged and honored to be in the company of our wonderful team. And today we have our delightful panel. And I've just lost them on screen. Not sure why that is, but let me find out what's just happened there. So, family, we are having another show this evening, and I've just changed the screen.
It seems like we've lost our host for now, so we'd just like to welcome you all to the Sister Shanice Show. Good to have.
Right, here I am back on screen. Not sure what happened there, but I am back. I just hope it's not going to be one of those nights, because as you can see, I have my wonderful, fantastic audience in the house and panel members. So audience, as you come through, do just hit us up in the chat. Let us know that you are there. Tonight is going to be a really very deeply insightful show indeed. The focus is going to be on the Congo and what's happening in the Congo. We have some outstanding guests, as you can see. We've got our sister Francine, we've got our brother Albert, we've got Dr. Aboo, we've got brother Jammers in the house, and we're going to be homing in on the Congo, one of the richest piece of real estate in the world, but you know, such perpetual turmoil. We're going to be looking at some of the challenges that that part of the world, that part of our beautiful continent is facing, because it's so important that we spotlight and highlight what's happening on the African continent. It's so important that we are in tune with what's actually going on, because anything that's impacting the continent impacts on us. Anything that impacts on our brothers and sisters impacts on us. If Africa is great, then we are regarded as great. If Africa is weak, then we are regarded as weak. And so we need a strong Africa so that we can be a proud, strong people. Not to say we're not proud and strong individually. Of course we all are. But we want to be proud and strong as collectives as well. So as you come through the door, please give us a thumbs up. Please do give us a like. And let me just go over and introduce to you, first of all, our beautiful sister Francine. Sister Francine is Congolese by origin. She's a human rights activist and has been for at least 9 years. She's written many articles about the war in Congo, campaigns for equality and democracy in Africa and in the Congo in particular. And she also features on many medias in the UK and Africa. She's passionate about health as a tool for development, holds a master's degree in psychology and counseling, and has a master's in public health and diploma in international development. We are honored to have our sister Francine in the house. Welcome, welcome, Sister Francine.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much. Thank you.
We are delighted, as I said, and please do say a few words and give and some opening remarks, please, to our audience. Sister Francine. Yeah. Over to you.
Okay. As you already introduced me, I can't really add more. But thank you, first of all, thank you so much for inviting me to talk about this issue that's affecting not just Congo, but Africa and Africa, even in diaspora, all African people in Africa and in diaspora in general. And it's something I will probably mention during our show tonight. Yeah, I am Francine. I'm an activist for quite a while now, and I fight for equality. I fight for freedom of Congo, Gwele regions, and I work with Also, I'm part of a committee of support of Dr. Mukwege, who is been supporting women victims of rape in Congo. So I work with his committee that support him for justice in Congo, because we need justice. Yeah, that's it for now. Thank you so much.
Okay, we thank you so much, Sister Francine. And we also have with us today our beloved Dr. Aboo, who we haven't seen for a little while, so we're glad to have him back in the house. Dr. Aboo is a community activist. He works on community meditation and counseling board. He's a volunteer. Member of Southwark Referral Panel, has been for over 20 years. He's a dub poet, songwriter, does arts in mirror as a designer, and has over 30 years experience on the Big G Galaxy Afiwi, the only de-brainwashing radio station. Welcome, Dr. Aboo.
Good Sister Shanice. You know, rise up to Sister Francine and my brethren there and jammers, you know, beautiful vibration, man. You know, we give thanks, you know. The sun shining, and if we don't have anything, at least we have sunshine, you know, and we give thanks for that, you know, that we can be here talking about the cause that, you know, affect us, you know, the things them that really benefit us as a people, you know, whether we're in the motherland or we are here, it still affects us, you know. The leaf that fall from a tree still come from the tree blood, you know. So we are here, you know, and give thanks.
Give thanks indeed, Dr. Aboo. So let's bring back the rest of the panel. Always great to have you in the house, Dr. Aboo. And let me also introduce to you, panel, our brother Albert, who is a new member to the Sister Shanice Show panel. He's a senior researcher in the Center of Global Studies Institute of Philosophy at the Czech Academy of Sciences in Prague, the Czech Republic. He's also a member of an ERC research project that's focused on African philosophy and genre at Baruch University in Germany. He has expertise in intellectual philosophy and comparative philosophy, as well as African philosophy and Latin American philosophy. His current research focuses on African political philosophy, civil society, intercultural philosophy, and genre theory. He is the author of John Rawls' Let's Faces, you'll have to pronounce that one for me, Philosophiques Deliberément Politique, 2005, and editor of 2 volumes of an African and comparative philosophy. You'll have to say the French for me there, Pour un pensée africain émancipatrice, 2004, and Dialogue Interculturel. His recent books include Contemporary African Social and Political Philosophy, Trends, Debates, and Challenges. And he's also an editor, and he's edited with Mr. Hubeck, and he's edited the book, Africa in a Multicultural World. We are delighted to have our brother, Albert Kasanda, join us today. Welcome, my brother.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you, sister, for inviting me to this very interesting meeting. Nice people. As concerning myself, you already said it all. So, but anyway, a human being is always a long story. But you already gave some introductions, notes, so I think it is really very nice of you. And the topic of tonight is really interesting, and it is relevant to my current research area. So thank you for inviting me and sharing ideas with colleagues and compatriots. Thank you.
Thank you. Absolute honor and privilege to have you in the house, my brother. And we also have our very own brother Jammers, who didn't send me his bio. So you're going to have to introduce yourself.
I did send you the bio. I sent you the bio.
Oh, you did? You sent it? Yeah. Oh, sorry. Let me find it. What's up it to me?
Yeah, I WhatsApped it. Yeah.
You did. Okay. Do you want me to do it then, or
Yeah,
let
you could do.
me?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. We have our very own Brother Jammers, radio presenter and author, co-founder of the Speakers Club and world scientist inspired by the late, great Brother Dougie, and also inspired by Dr. Aboo Ratata and Edison to assist in the liberation of our people. Brother, let me go over to you, Brother Jammers, so that you can welcome our audience.
Well, I'd just like to welcome everybody especially our panel, you know, my compadre, Dr. Aboo, yourself, you know, and our two specialist guests, you know, and also all the people in the chat room. I'd like to big you up. I can see IC3 there and Heru, you know, Afro Jam. I'd like to, you know, it's going to be a very interesting discussion. You know, I just feel like I'm going to be listening as much as everybody else because this is a real deep subject. So thank you for having me. Boom.
Oh, we are honored to have you, my brother. It's always great to have you in the house. How comes there was no mention of etymology in your bio there, your specialist, you know, etymology training that you do? Hey,
Yeah, I break down
you're
words. I
selling
started the course
yourself
for that.
short.
Yeah.
So yeah, you've already gone over to the chat. Let's go over to the chat again and welcome some of our guests who we have in the audience today. And as you said, it's always a privilege and an honor to have our wonderful, wonderful panel members and our audience in the house as well. So rising up. Tuka Pajama, always welcome. Great to have you, Tuka Pamoja, in the house, who's saying greetings, Sister Shanice and panel members. We want to rise up. Heru, rise up, who's greeting the whole family. Gebra, good to have you in the house. Blessings, Black Hatcher, my brother. Farouk, good to have you in the house as well. B1 family, yes, Black first, absolutely. Two hands, Black Hatcher. S.A. Smith, great to have you in the house, saying peace to everyone. And Mr. IC3, good to have you, saying good panel, power night tonight, indeed. Sister Afrijamo, I know, is watching us all the way from Ghana. All things out in Ghana, sis. Rising up, Dr. Aboo in the house. Brap. And IC3 saying solutions night tonight. No whinging. No whinging from you either. We want solutions from you too, yeah? All right. Sister Afrijama saying greetings to myself and the panel and to all the real brothers and sisters in the chat, in the house. And so we welcome each of you as you come through to the door today. Brother Heru, Sister Afrijamo, just keeping it real all the way. And if you've got any questions, if you've got any comments, any remarks that you'd like to post in the chat, we will be visiting the chat periodically and bringing it into this discussion. Okay, humanities, Taz, we welcome you as well. To everybody who's watching us, if you want to participate in the chat, you are welcome to do so. Just make sure that you're live, and we will be able to pull out your comments as you make them in the chat today. Well, what a subject we are going to be discussing today. Let me just give a little brief introduction from, I think, a couple of articles that I've picked up. There's so much. The Congo, wow. There's so much that can be said and needs to be said about the Congo. It's even difficult for me to know where to start. Do I start with the background in terms of, you know, Patrice Lumumba, you know, and or do I start with what's happening now in terms of the protests that's going on in the Congo and where the fingers are being pointed, you know, at Rwanda for being complicit in what's going on in the destabilization of the Congo, you know, or do we go over and look at and talk about the role of Tony Blair in the Congo? There's so many angles that we could pick this topic up from. But you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to open up today's discussion on conversation about the Congo by bringing in our invited guests, starting with our Sister Francine. Sister Francine, let's allow you to open the topic of conversation today. with your presentation or lecture.
Thank you so much for the invitation again. I thank you for everyone as well. I mean, I decided to focus more about the economic war of Congo. The war in Congo is, I want everyone who are listening, is economic. It's economic war because when you look at, when we start with, we have to go back to the beginning from King Leopold II. You will know that every time when the world is trying to find something new, they found sort of like during King Leopold II, it was to do with rubber. When they found the car, when they found it started with the bike, so Congo has to pay the price. So it started from the beginning. When we look at from King Leopold II, it's always been, the war in Congo always been economic war, and which Congolese usually pay the price. So as it was in King Leopold II, today we have coltan. Soon as they found coltan in Congo, apart from coltan, everyone who doesn't know coltan is what we need for our battery on the phone, but not modern technology such as phone, such as iPad, computer, and TV. A lot of things that we need for coltan. And Congo produces majority of coltan in the world. So the coltan is in a majority of it is in the eastern part of Congo, the Kivu region. Then when the issue of a genocide happened in Rwanda, what happened is we all know the genocide between Hutu and Tutsi. Congolese has nothing to do with that issue. But when the Hutu, when the power of Kigali, those who are leading now, took over, which is the Tutsi, the people, the Hutu left. Many of them, they didn't, Congolese at that time, we were not Congolese, we were Zaire. And Mobutu was the president at that time. And Mobutu, that former regime refused to open. They said, no, it's these people, they have committed crime there. They can't cross over to create another instability. But there is a video, there is a lot of documentary about it. The United Nations and stuff, they insisted to ask Congolese, for the former Congolese regime, Mobutu regime, to open the border. They opened the border and they crossed over. And obviously there were refugees as well, family, all the people, young people, all that. But for us as Congolese, we feel like it was planned. Because since that, we have paid a price more than people committed genocide. For instance, the power of Kigali, Paul Kagame, the president of Rwanda, all the time, if he wanted to invade Congo, occupy Congo territory, he used that excuse. I'm following those genocide, those people who committed genocide, which is actually not true, because in 1996, Kigali regime, Kagame, Museveni in Uganda, all of them came over. They helped former Congolese president called Laurent Desire Kabila. They supported him to invade Congo. And when they invaded Congo, they did a coup. Mobutu was out, and he died in Morocco. Then the Kigali, all the people, Rwanda, all of them, the regime of Rwanda, they were there in Congo. They were in our army. Actually, the former minister of defense used to be of Rwanda, the second man in command in Rwanda right now, James Kabarebe. He used to be the minister of defense in Congo. So when they were there, why did they know? They were there for years. Why did they not arrest those people who committed genocide in Rwanda? Because they couldn't, they are not even strong enough to take over Rwanda. So it's sort of it's sort of a excuse the regime of Kagame used to get in Congo, to get him to keep supporting rebel militias, or creating militias everywhere. So those militias, they work hand in hand with him. A majority of them are not even Congolese. So when they why I said beginning, I say the war in Congo is economic, because of mineral resources. Congo has to be in this situation for people to be able to looting minerals. And that's what they've been doing for 25 years. There are people who were born during that war. I was really young when that war when I can remember it like yesterday. I remember how the regime Uganda, how they took over Congo before they came to liberate us. I remember it like it was yesterday. We have to walk miles and miles to go and hide in the villages, my father's village, because they were saying those people are coming, they're going to rape. And that's what they've been doing in Congo. Yeah. They rape has been used as a weapon of war. They go in the villages, they destabilize everyone, and to do that they have to go to women, and they rape anyone who's women, as long you are a woman, even you are a child, you are a baby, newborn baby, as long you are a female. Let me put it that way. And who supports Kagame? Kagame just can't wake up one morning and start doing what he's doing. He is what Malcolm X used to call a house Negro. Sometimes when I see people praise him, look how he's changing Rwanda. It's well, but he can change Rwanda, but not by killing, by being used to kill his own. We are African, to kill the Congolese, to destabilize Congolese for 25 years. That's really long time, and there is impact. It's economic, because if Congo is in peace, Congolese not just going to benefit the mineral. Congo has 9 neighbors. It's the only country in Africa with 9 neighbors. Very strategic in the heart of Africa, just like the body. Congo is a heart. Frank Fanon used to say this. Congo, the war, Africa is like a gun where the trigger is in Congo. Do you know why he said this? Africa will not go anywhere. We are not going. We're not going to be developed if Congo is in that state. And those who doesn't want Africa to develop knows that. In fact, the recent leaders, I'm not pro them, but I can just say the recent, like Barack Obama said it. Anyway, from everyone said it. Kwame Nkrumah, when they killed Lumumba, Kwame Nkrumah, everyone should go and read the book of the struggle of Congo, written by Kwame Nkrumah. So yes. we need to go. We need to understand that it's economic. And then another issue we have is we don't have a strong institution. We only have strong men. We don't have leaders that will stand up for us. Because I can't just condemn, I can't just say the outsider coming use Kagame. What about the leaders, Congolese leaders? That's another issue. We don't have like our president, he is the son of a former opposition. His father was fighting for years. They were in the opposition. But today they are in power. He took over. We thought, okay, he didn't win election, but we thought, okay, maybe things gonna be better. No. He is actually supporting everything. Kagame was supporting him, and seem to forget that we can't go anywhere without justice. And every day, even right now, I'm talking to you, 48 Congolese women have to be raped for us to to get a phone, to get all the access, modern technology we're using. It shouldn't be that way. It's economic. The countries like those Arab countries, sort of Dubai and stuff, they have oil and stuff. People don't go there and rape the women to get that. They do trade, they deal equal. But why is the case of Africa is different? Because we have people like Kagame who think it's fine to play the role of house ego. So you see, it's also us as a problem. Soon as we wake up for this sort of being, if someone wants to destroy my neighbors, they use me. Or my brother, my sister, they use me. We have to come to that term of stopping that. And it gets, a lot of Congolese people get frustrated when they see some of our African, whether in diaspora in Africa, President Kagame, they don't know all the things, this big thing is out of all the people's blood. It shouldn't be that way. If Congo is in peace, even Rwanda will benefit for it. They will. But it's not that, it's just that country has to be for people who say they are the one, those who decide for the rest of the world. That country has to be in that state for people to be able to get access to minerals for free.
We hear you, my sis. Wow, wow, wow. I mean, you've just gone straight to the heart of, you know, the problems that are facing Uganda today. Lots of questions, but I'm going to hold on my questions, my sis, and we'll come back and we'll allow you more time to elaborate on what you were saying. Thank you for that opening there, and hopefully, you know, everybody's got a clear picture of, you know, how deep rooted and how complex this problem is. Let's go over to our brother Albert, our other expert on the panel today in terms of the situation in Rwanda. And then, you know, we'll go around the table, so to speak, and we'll bring in our audience as well. Brother Albert, over to you. Brother Albert, are you able to hear me? I know you've been having some challenges with your connection.
Talking to me?
Yes, yes, Brother Albert, yes.
Okay. Okay, so thank you. Thank you. I didn't understand well exactly. So I personally agree with what said the sister Francine about the situation of war in Congo. Actually, my idea is that this situation, or what is called war in Congo, should not be approached in a simplistic way. It is a very complex situation that must be analyzed, avoiding or criticizing usual stereotypes which are used to speak of violence, to speak of wars in Africa, and in this case of Congo. We all know the use of the concept of ethnic antagonism, Hutu, Tutsi, and this seems to be used also to try and justify or explain the situation or things that are happening in the eastern part of Congo. But this is not enough. I think that, as Sister Francine explained it, there are several stages, at least in the recent years. I can personally speak of 3 stages of war in Congo deployed by different actors for several motivations. We had, as she explained, the first wave, which was named wrongly the Liberation War, because there were Kagame and Museveni who had their own agenda, who relied mainly on some naive Congolese leaders, opponent to Mobutu regime, and afterward they didn't go far because they quarreled. So this war was carried on by what we know the Alliance for the Force Democratic Liberation du Congo. It didn't go far. And then came the second wave, which was called, namely by Kabila himself, the war of invasion or the aggression. It was aggressed by foreign countries. What's strange is that we once again find Rwanda and Uganda and several African armies fighting in the Congolese territory without any participation of Congolese themselves. So this leads to the conclusion, as said Sister Francine, that was on basis of economy. They were struggling for Congolese resources and minerals without taking no care for Congolese themselves or Congolese interests. And this is important. This is important for this war developing in Congo, developed but carried on by African countries, African armies without any participation of Congolese. And this, I think, historically speaking, is an important reference. We can be called as, I can say, the African war, not Congolese, because countries fighting in Congo were not armies, were not Congolese, but foreign armies occupying and foreign territory to fight for minerals that they were not theirs. And then from that came this third, and which is continuing actually under different forms, which we know there's movement rebels, rebellions. We had the DRC, this Congolese rebellion, and came CNDPC with Nkunda Batware, and then actually the M23. All those are a kind of prolongation of the two previous waves of war, which of course connect with this important topic as introduced Sister Francine of searching for economic interest. But this is not enough. As I said, it is something very complex. We have to put it in the context of globalization, actually, where there is mobility not only of people, not only of technology, but also of resources. And in this context of mobility, there is also mobility of wars. And we have in this context what some French philosophers like Deleuze and Guattari, followed by Mbembe, named the war machines, which are organizations, institutions, even some countries, which are used to provoke and to maintain wars with several purposes: to invade other countries, to promote weapon business, to exploit resources from other countries, and also to provide international business. And as far as I can be right, since actually 50 years, more or less, Congo has been always a land where the United Nations have had or still have important contingent, the most important number of their representative military, and never they brought any solution, changing the terms of the emissions, changing the positions where they're still there, but they are not efficient for nothing. And actually, with what is happening actually in Congo, they say we will create a new position of African Union force to try and to calm the situation. It will not work because they have had and still have this important contingent of MONUSCO, whose results are more or less ambitious. And I don't see what will be the added value of this new African contingent in this situation. So I think that there is a need to consider the complexity at an international level of this conflict. And it is not with the presence of thousands and thousands of contingents that will put an end to it, because this conflict is part of these war machines which create instability, which take advantage of weakness of some states to develop the business. And those rebels give to themselves or try to compete with the state, legal state, the monopoly, the monopole, the exclusivity, or to use violence to decide who can live here, who can go somewhere else, or who can be killed. So they give to themselves this property, which conventionally speaking was recognized only to the state in the limit of its own territory. So I think here we are entering a new world, new borders, and new challenges. And the situation here, of course, we can see visible actors who are Uganda, who are Rwanda, but there are quite a few else who are behind, who are in this context taking advantage of this situation, which is really very complex in the context of globalization. I think it is important to consider this aspect. And so that is what I can say in short. If there are comments or reactions, I can say a bit more. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Brother Albert, for adding, to the picture that Sister Francine had painted, and for broadening our knowledge so much more on this topic. And as you said, a very complex situation indeed, and needs to be viewed within the context of globalization, industrialization, and the new technological age. I think, if we look at it from the perspective, from the economic perspective, as Francine was saying, in terms of, the role of King Leopold II at a time when the West was industrializing and rubber was the new, commodity or material that was needed to boost and advance that industrialization. Today, coltan is the commodity that's needed to advance and to boost the new technological age, which is today's industrialization. Layered with that, as you've said, the whole war machinery and then the economics that comes from war, and the advantage that internationals can take from destabilized economies, we begin to see this very complex but very clear picture of why the Congo is in the situation that it is. And we've already identified some of the key players who are allowing themselves to be used to advance the multinationals' interests in accessing those commodities at a very inexpensive price. But we're going to go into that in a lot more detail. I'm going to bring in our resident panel members now for their views, comments, and thoughts on the presentation that's been delivered so far. Any questions or anything they want to add further? First of all, let me bring in Dr. Aboo. Rise up, Dr. Aboo. Wow.
Good on, family. Good on. Rise up to Sister Francine and Brother Albert, As the sister said earlier on about King Leopold, if you don't realize what they have done here, they have messed up your African spirituality. And you see, the whole thing about it, the Congolese, them have to go back to the traditional way higher. A nation who turn away from their cultural, spiritual tradition and take up foreign things will perish. Will perish blood. Now better we sit here and know the letter that King Leopold sent in the Congo. And today the people them still see things in that. No wonder them a kill them one another. The sister talk about Dubai. At least Dubai, God look like him. Dubai think them look like him. You understand? What I'm saying that it's not the Congo alone that go suffer. The only reason why the Congo is feeling it like that, because that is where life begin in Africa. You understand? That is where life begin. And if we don't understand that, that is what they keep down that African spiritual vibration. You know, see all the wars them is either between Muslim, Christian, or Jews. That it have nothing to do with us as African people. These things are not coming from our mentality. It's coming from a remembrance thing that them plant in our way, and we remember what them tell us to do. But we can't remember what our own ancestor and them order us to do. You know, we are building our own gallas. And whether in the time of rubber or in the time of these new minerals and all of these things, we have to get our mind back, blood. The African people have to get their mind back and come out of these foreign things. Because these foreign things, instead of having them into a kind of collective wealth, it have them in a personal wealth. No wonder the minister them have so much in their bank account, and the populace, the majority of the people them is sucking salt, because they are not practicing a true African principle. They either practice Belgium, or them a practice France, or them a practice Britain, or them a try to be American evangelists and all of these things. You will suffer, my people. You will suffer if you continue, you understand, to lick the boot of foreigners. You will die from some form of black polish poison blood. A full time we wake up and realize that our ancestors, them, is yearning for us to turn to them. And we don't turn to them. We turn to Rome. We turn to Mecca. We turn to this. We turn to that. And we're going to sit here asking the problem. The problem is bigger than economics, blood. Bigger than economics. You understand? The problem is us. Us is the problem. You understand? Because we rather follow the certified things that's certified by the oppressor than the things them that's certified by our own ancestors. We have to wake up. You know, I'm just a child of the kidnapped people. A lot of my tongue, I lost it. A lot of things I lost it. But it said, you know, I'm on the road to recovery. I'm on the road to restore myself. Because Africa right now is not looking on restoration. They might look to be repair. Repair by this and repair by that. We have to wake up, blood. We have to wake up from that colonial mentality. You understand? We have to wake up from those things that we have to look down on our brothers and look down on our sisters and think that we're better than them. You know? And we feel more happy when we are around the European. And it's the damn European them have us in this situation. You know? I don't look at that region to where it is right now. I have to start to look at it before they start to scramble and see the full energy of our spirituality intact before them brainwash our people and have them in this thing. You understand? We're African people now in the Congo want to be white, want to be bleach and bloody skin and wear these all European stuff. These things is an insult to ourselves, man. We have to respect ourselves before anything gonna respect us, before any wealth gonna come to us. We have to make sure that we gain our health. And right now, we are not healthy people. We are mentally sick, blood. Vudum.
Vudum, Dr. Aboo. So, you know, the problem is the man and the woman in the mirror. We have lost our culture. We have a colonized mindset now. And we're all for self as a people. We've lost our African spirituality, worshipping gods that don't look like us. And in so doing, have lost the African values that we used to stand for, that used to hold us together as a people. So there's a spiritual warfare that's impacting on us as well. So that's another layer to add to the complexity of the challenges that we're facing at the moment. So, you know, the history of Congo and the colonization, the enslavement that happened on the Congo, the works of the missionary has taken us away from who we are as Africans. And, you know, we've probably not aware of the extent to which spirituality is also impacting on us. And we need to return to the African way, because in so doing, we will find our way out of this situation that we're in. powerful contribution there from Dr. Aboo. We'll come back round so that we can explore that in a bit more detail as well. Brother Jammers, over to you. I know you wanted to use the share screen. Please do feel welcome to go ahead and do so. Okay, let's hear from our brother Jammers. So, brother Jammers, talk to us while you set up your share screen.
I'm trying to access it. I don't think it might not let me do it actually. But yeah,
can you see share screen?
Yeah, I'm pressing share screen.
Right.
And it says share screen.
Right.
Oh, share screen. Okay, share screen. Oh, okay.
Just say it twice.
Yes, great. Okay, I can see it now.
So whilst our brother's sorting out the share screen, yes, you've done that. Okay, what did you do? Because we had trouble with it last week. Tell us what you did, please, brother Jammers.
I just pressed share screen and it asked me to share it, and I agree to share it.
Okay, and it's come up below, and I'm just clicking on it now. We're looking at your screen, okay, brother Jammers?
Can you see what? Can you see the what does it mean?
What does it mean to be African? We can see the map.
Yeah, so basically,
the faces of
right,
because
in what Dr. Aboo was saying and what had been said before, the starting point is, who are we? What does it mean to be us? Because if you don't know that, then you're going to have no sense of a common alignment. So this is key, and in relation to our spirituality, we need to know this, because if you haven't got this principle in state, then you're already lost before you even start. And we haven't been given a chance to define and find out what it means to be us without somebody else giving us an interpretation, or we're too busy being distracted by all the tragedies and the atrocities that's on us that we haven't had a chance to even look at this part of who we are. So just say, imagine if all you knew about yourself that you was born under a mango tree. Yeah. Because in a natural state, no animal, when an animal is born, it doesn't have all it has is its experience of itself and its surroundings. It doesn't have anything imposing itself on it. So what happens is, if you were just born and you didn't have nobody imposing anything on you, then you would be in tune with nature. But what's happened to us is that we've been taken away from our natural ability to perceive and experience, which is called intelligence, intuition, and intellect. Perceive means to take, like receive, you're taking something. Perceive means that you have the ability to take yourself through something that you see. So you're just like a baby starts off with that, developing that ability before it's taken away from it. So you will see something, and your own intellect and intelligence will tell you what to do to maneuver, because we have an inner intelligence within us that enables us to do things in a way that's going to be beneficial to ourselves and our family and our future. This is our natural state of being, but we've been taken away from this state. So this is, with all the money, wealth, resource, economic essence that's happened to us, the key element is what's happened to our head and what's in our head. And what's happened is we've been given a time. So instead of having a natural perception of who we are and given the chance to develop that intelligence of ourselves, we've been given a time, a place, a religion, and a name as a starting point to define our reality. So you cannot experience anything before adding a time, a place, a religion, or a name to it, given to you by somebody other than yourself. And then you're told you're primitive, you need an education, you need certificates, and you need somebody else's money to define your reality. But if you look at the word your, you see the word our reality, because basically you're defining yourself in somebody else's paradigm to feel that you're worthy of something. So this is the spiritual attack that's been put on us, before anything else has happened to us. Why we can't come together as a collective. And then after all that, this is what we become. You know, bourgeoisie, a politician or a celebrity, which is basically a pup pet, and a man's best friend is his dog. You know, so once we've gone through their process, this is what we are to. This is what we become, and this is what the leaders have become in the Congo. You know, a puppet to somebody other than themselves, because the spiritual intelligence of themselves, it's been dissected away from them. But what's happened before that is even worse than this, because this is the modern way of doing things. Before, this is as we were saying, you know, Leopold II ruled, he massacred 10 million Africans by cutting off their hands and genitals, flogging them to death, starving them, forcing them into labor, holding children and burning villages. So this is a generational trauma that we're still carrying, you know, in our genetics, in our DNA. You know, so this is how big this problem is, and this Congo really is a case study of everything that's going on with us now. But now they're doing it in a more covert way in the area of the West. But this, as Albert said, there's so much complexities to this that it really, I don't even think it can be analyzed in one debate, but it needs to be looked at, because there's so many different levels to this. And as you can see, this is, you know, this is the atrocity that took place in there to us. You know, how can you imagine what it's like to be in that? And of course, sorry, I just jumped ahead. Lumba's assassination, they need to be brought to trial for the assassination of a president. You know, this needs to be addressed, that our president's been assassinated by the CIA and the Belgians, and they haven't been brought to trial over it. They've committed international criminal activity by assassinating an African president and have not been brought to trial for it. This is how deep they've got away with things in relation to us. And this is what we need, as Dr. Aboo says, the condition that we're in, why these things are not uniting us, is serious. You know, and this is cobalt, basically. As we said earlier, it's an economic, for the West, it's an economic process of raping us of our resources. Look how much cobalt is, and this is just in relation to batteries, how much this country is producing. And once again, as it was said, it's the future, because technology is advancing, so there's increased need for the things that run intelligence, like computers. So this is the future of the world, because this country produces everything that the West needs to function for its technology to survive. So this is why this is an attack on us, you know, an attack on our future. And the last thing, the process is what they do, how they operate the system is designed to extract our resources. So what they do, they fund a financially naive government or a corrupted government. And once that corrupted government causes problems against its own people, they come in to fix, put measures and policies in place to legislate against the corruption that they've caused. And that enables them to extract resources. So this is the cycle that they've got in place to maintain, to keep extracting the resources from us by funding all the corruption and malpractices that taking place. And the next thing is, when you look at how they act to fellow Europeans who they see as in trouble, you know, people, when it comes to us, or especially the Congo, they're seen as shadows and they're seen as peripherals. So no help or assistance is given. And then they put measures and policies in place to legislate against the suffering that they instigate. So that was just a little insight into the actual problem that is put in place.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that, Brother Jammers. A very sobering and very insightful presentation there indeed. And you covered so much in that short space of time in that presentation. When I was preparing for the show today, I went over a couple of videos that I'd like to refer our viewers to watch again. And these are the presentations that was done by Leader Bandaka. One was looking at the Tony Blair's role in Rwanda, and there's a video that was asking the question. You know, let me bring it up. Let me see if I can bring it up as a presentation here as well, actually, because I've got it here in my notes. Let's see if I can manage to share screen here.
Yes, it's the bottom panel I clicked on, and it.
Okay, let's go to the window and see if I can see the presentation open in the window. Okay, I'm not sure why that PowerPoint presentation is not open there. No, okay. Let me minimize the other windows behind and see if that will enable me just to have that window up that's got the PowerPoint presentation and the slides that I pulled out today in preparation for today's show. Let me try that again. Share screen, go over to window. No, it's not. Let's go to the Chrome tab. No, window. Okay, why is it not? Anyway, let me click on it and see if it does happen to come up. If already checked, unchecked, then recheck if there's okay. Chrome has lost permission to capture your screen. To fix it, okay, I've got to go into system preferences and unlock to allow Chrome to see my presentation. So unfortunately, I haven't got time to do that. I'll do that outside of here. But if you go to Leader Bandaka's presentation, you'll find it. It's the one that he did on Tony Blair's Institute for Global Change. Yeah, he was talking about how Tony Blair and his Institute for Global Change is actually running Rwanda. So in that presentation that you did just there, Brother Jammers, where the picture of the puppet came up on the hand of the white puppet master, it just took me to the Tony Blair Institute as him being the puppet master, and the Rwandan Prime Minister allowing him to run his country. And I'm sure he has a lot to do with what's going on there on the borders of Rwanda as well, and in Rwanda. The reason being is because what we learned from the presentation that Leader Bandaka actually did is that Tony Blair's Institute has actually got a number of highly paid officials. Can everyone put their phone on mute, please? I think it might be yours, Brother Albert. If you could just mute your phone, please. There's a lot of background noise going on there, my brother. Thank you so much. What we learned is that the Tony Blair Institute for Global Change actually has a number of administrators, not just in Rwanda, but in a number of African countries. And it's basically a new way for these former colonialists to run African countries. And it's part of the New World Order as well. And this is how they advance their industrialization, their access to resources. They come in as if they are the savior for the African country. They dictate to them what policies they say would be in the best interest of their countries. They advise them regarding the corporations that are going to be coming in, the investors that are so-called coming in. And we are seeing that these leaders are just opening the door to so-called investors, armies, and all sorts that are coming in to the African countries with all of their weaponry and machinery. We see the continuation of the Africa being exploited by the former colonizers and former enslavers, and we wonder what's going on. So I suggest that everybody please go back and watch that video again, because there's so much that we can actually glean from that video in terms of what's going on in Rwanda. Also, another video that I'd like to recommend that was a teaching video again by Leader Bandaka is the one on Patrice Lumumba and the true story of what happened to Patrice Lumumba. You know, it's a cringing one to have to watch, but my, if they could suffer what they suffered, then we need to just at least suffer to watch the video to learn about the situation in the Congo there. And that one goes into talking about the that at the time of the liberation, when the country was liberated and he came in, Patrice Lumumba came in, he brought so much hope. He was the man that was going to be the difference that Congo wanted to see. And, you know, his vision wasn't just for the Congo, but was for the whole of Africa. And who were the ones that allowed this vision that he had to be totally destroyed? Yes, we can look to Belgium. Yes, we can look to the US and the UK and the role of France and the UN. But they would not have been able to have brought down that man had it not been for people who look like us on the inside, who were prepared to be used and who were prepared to sell their own people out. And so you need to watch that video to get to know who these traitors are that we still have in our midst. Now, let me go over to the audience and bring in some of their thoughts, comments, and opinions. And then I'm going to go back to the panel for some quick fire responses to what has been said by other speakers that have been speaking in response to what I've said and in response to some of the comments in the chat. So no special order, just randomly going through, starting from the bottom and kind of screaming up. Brother Heru, rise up, good to have you in the house. He says, the multinationals are fighting for the control of the natural resources by creating multiple armed groups. And that's certainly, I mean, I would agree with that, but let's hear what our sister Francine has to say, as she also did comment about this being an economic war. Sister Francine, can you jump in here? Haru is saying the multinationals are in there fighting for control of the natural resources by creating multiple armed groups. These multinationals now are supposed to be investors, but could it be that they are also implicated in all of this? What say you, Sister Francine?
Yeah, thank you again. Of course, definitely, many of them are implicated. I mean, there is a couple of documentary, one of a Cameroonian brother did it, but I'm gonna try and send everyone that because it's got subtitle in English. That is really eye-open because he went down there. He went in Congo on all the mines, the biggest one. He was not even able, even though he was allowed, he had a government, permission. But as soon as he went to, for instance, Chinese mine, the biggest mine, and they didn't want him, even though he was with the governor of that state, South Kivu, but they didn't want him to get even the governor. The governor of that state is like the mayor of the one state, like a province. They didn't even want him to be close because there were some people from all the power made a phone call. It is really, you can see if you look at the documentary, is really, really insightful. And then he went to another mine owned by a multinational American. It was the same thing. So, I mean, like I stated at the beginning, the war in Congo is mostly economic. Even a belief like Elder Dr. Aboo say, yeah, it is, but the spirituality, when you look at it, you will notice that our people, if you go, anyone who's been in Africa, we have a lot of churches now, evangelical churches from Aki, in Congo particular, from street maybe 5, 6. So people don't have job. There is insecurity, there is unemployment. And what do you want them? They go to those churches to find hope. On those churches, they promise them blessing. You're going to get married. You're going to get a job. You know, or as how it is in the Bible. Those things, if those people had access to at least job or finance or something, they wouldn't be going in a search of blessings. So they go to there, and many pastors manipulate them. So it's all going back to the economic, unemployment, all of them going back to money. If we don't have access to money, people will manipulate us. They say in Africa, my father used to say that a lot. The hand that gives commands, and that's how it is. Our spirituality will not go anywhere. We will not go back to our spirituality if we are in this state of poverty, even though we have mineral under our bed. Couple of days ago, they found one part of it's one of the big city in Congo, Lubumbashi. In the middle of the city, people were just on the compound. They found gold. Everyone started searching it, and there were gold everywhere. Just it's happened all the time in Congo like that. But after months, they were kicking. They kicked them out. So it's always like that, and all the multinationals gonna come and get basically own the place.
Clearly,
they play massive role. The multinationals, they supporting many. I'm not gonna say there is no exception. There might be exception, but many of them tend to support those, and then they use young people. When I mean young people, infant. I'm seeing a 5 years old. It's one of the fights we are doing right now. A couple of Congolese activists. 5 years old supposed to be in school, but is in a mine to work with a mom maybe and dad as well to support the family. They use young people. Child labor is really hard. The level of child labor in a mine in Congo is heartbreaking.
Thank you.
So they're involved. There's a lot of reports about a lot of international a lot of companies, foreign company involved in war in Congo.
Yeah,
there are a lot. Even many Congolese. I heard Brother Albert was talking about United Nations. We have one of the biggest UN peacekeeper in the world. But to be honest, they've been there for years. For many Congolese, there is no need for them anymore because they pay them $1 billion per year. What are they doing? There's really no solution. And in fact, many of them have been also reporting. One of the person was one of the working in the United Nations. In a MONUSCO in Congo. He was in an interview here in Channel 4. He raped a lot of young girls. So some of them, they do all the sort of things, and some of them, when you see there's a massacre happen in 1 kilometer near their station, they knew as well, but they don't
intervene. They're implicated as well. We're going to come back to you,
Francine. It's a very complicated. This is where the way I'm going to end there. The way here, the way we all stood up for South Africa,
yeah.
I think we all stood. I remember I was
maybe for the Congo as well.
We were telling us in the nursery. They were telling us in the nursery to sing Liberene, some of the Fino, some of the. It was African thing.
Yes.
All, whether in Africa and diaspora, we stood for South Africa. Why can we do that for Congo? Come on, more than 8 million people have lost their life. It is time for African people to whether in Africa or in diaspora to stand for Congo, because if Congo is free, Africa is going to be free, and it's going to impact even the African in diaspora, whether in Caribbean. Congo give 24 trillion per year in the world. Just think about that 24 trillion. Telsa is making money from the cobalt. I heard a brother Chama was talking about cobalt. Congo is the #1 producer of cobalt in the world. Telsa is one of the expensive car. Electric car is the future, meaning Congo is also the future. In other words, we are again the future.
More help.
Are we going to be outside of that future, or are we going to be on the table of that decision? because we are the owner of those minerals. It's
Sister
something we need
Francine,
to think about.
let me allow some of the other speakers to come in, and we will be coming back to you, my sis. Brilliant suggestion there. We need to stand for the Congo. The same way we all stood for South Africa, we need to stand for the Congo. We need liberation songs for the Congo as well. We need to bring hope back to the Congo, because right now they've got the hope. Our people's hope is in those pastors. And brother Dr. Aboo, you've got a cliche saying there about the hope dealers. I wonder if you could drop that for us right now. You're on mute, Dr. Aboo. If you could unmute yourself.
You know, Vodum, you know, you have dope dealers and you have hope dealers. What I'm trying to make you understand, Tony Blair is a Catholic. You understand, you know? You say, what you're facing now is the corporation you're facing. You think Leopold was on his own when he made it run the rubber? You know, what we don't realize is, even us in the West here, you see us in the West, we say we are Catholic and Anglican, we should have just dropped down fucking friggin' dead. We should just drop down dead. Because we read these things and know what these people done to us and our people, but we still partake in it. What I'm saying, I remember reading about Fela Kuti, and when I started to listen and realize that Fela Kuti was fighting against the Nigerian them that was more European than African. You understand what I'm saying? And this is what's happening to Africa today. Africa, them black in color, but them white, European in mind. Just as what Putin said. Most of these African leaders just see Africa as a cemetery. They don't see it as investment and development, you know. And here in the West, I pray every day that the ancestor kill all of them.
Well, you've got Senu in the chat who's saying all those churches need to be burnt down. Do you think maybe if they were all burnt down, then our people would start looking to themselves for the power that they have within, instead of looking outside of themselves, expecting some mythical being that's going to jump out of the sky and create a job for them and solve all their problems?
If my son come and tell me that he want to be a pastor, if I can poison him, I poison him. Because I know the danger of that thing. You understand? We are playing games with people's life. You know, we are African people. We are not European. And we must start behave like European. Simple as that.
Shame. Rise up, Dr. Aboo. Some straight talking, hard words there that might be difficult for some to digest, but you know, it's the morality. So let me go back over to the chat, and then we'll come back in again. Let's see. This one said by DJ Huti. He said, Dejuti says, as the exploitation is mainly artisanal, they use children to go underground through holes. Wow, wow, wow. Lots of conversations going on there. Let's quickly scroll up, see what I can just stop at this one. Would the panel not agree that the DRC Congo is held hostage to its own wealth, but also because it holds one of the main spiritual keys to the renaissance of the original man? Thank you, Mandele, for that. Let me go over to Brother Albert for a response, please.
Okay, if I can say something very shortly, is that I really appreciate all the presentation that have been given, the papers, and I like the idea of spirituality, African spirituality, but we must probably be a bit careful about it. What does it mean to be spiritual and to develop African spirituality in a current context where we are facing multiple challenges? So I think that is really something important to consider in this kind of debate, because if there are people in the world who are spiritual, I think that Africans are even much more spiritual than Rome, where the Catholic Pope is living. Are much more Christian in Africa than in Rome. And people spend most of their life, days and nights, praying, fasting, try to apply theoretically, I mean, all the good principles of religion, maybe Christianity, maybe Muslims, or even some traditions as well. So I think we should be a bit careful using this concept that I appreciate. And I think it is important for one to be proud of himself, to abandon this kind of alienation, as Frantz Fanon showed it somehow in most of the two of his main books, The Black Skin Mainly and White Masks. So to be oneself and struggle to defend one's heritage and resources. And there I think many African countries and leaders are failing, because we have been talking of economy, we have been accusing all those multinationals, but we have to recognize that our own brothers, Congolese brothers, or other countries also participate to this extractivism, to this kind of colonial project of getting out all the resources and creating the situation of scarcity. And it's in this kind of context that what I named the war machines work perfectly. When there is scarcity, they can offer security to people because the state is failing. When there is no employment, they can employ even children soldiers, giving them a little to help them to survive day by day, but they receive something. These kind of structures create, even intellectually, they create opportunities. They are not, you spoke about Tony Blair, but he has not been the only one. There are also Bill Clinton and others has been involved in at some point in business in Africa, and they are not works of charity. They are not philanthropic initiatives. So they came there for some purpose and for some benefits that as African people, African intelligentsia, we are not able or do not commit to analyze and criticize them seriously, and to have this kind of courage to say, okay, that's fine, but we as people, we would like to deal with our scarcity in a different way. And I think there are many things that we can accuse foreigners, but look also at our own side, what is our part of responsibility. So that is in short some few comments reacting to several proposals that I had in this dialogue. So thank you.
Thank you so much for that interjection there. And, you know, as you're saying, it's really, really important to make the distinction between spirituality and religion. And what has been imposed on us as Africans, especially during the years of our enslavement and colonization, was religion and the practice of religion. Spirituality has largely been taken away from us, and that religion that has been imposed on us, you know, gives us a false identity of who we are as a people, because in the religions that were imposed on us by our former enslavers, it made us look to their gods as our gods. So if our enslavers were the Arabs, it made us look to their gods as our God. If our enslavers were the Europeans, it made us look to their European gods and the image of a European God as our God. And then we wonder why we look to them to be our saviors. And as someone said in the chat, we need to stop looking to these multicultural organizations and international organizations and expect them to come and save us. They are not our saviors. We have got to save ourselves. And when we start looking in the mirror and seeing the God within and seeing the fact that we have been given all that we need in order to save ourselves, and we can see each other as our savior, then we can come together and fight together. And that is the spirit of the Pan-Africanist. That's the Pan-Africanist spirit, because we'll be able to see, you know, the power that lies within each and every one of us. And we'll be able to look around this panel, for example, and realize that we have a formidable team here that can go forward and fight in a liberation struggle. Yeah. And as our sister Francine was saying as well, we need to get the rest of Africa to stand with the Congo for the liberation of the Congo. And we have to recognize the power that lies within. Let me bring in Brother Jammers at this juncture. Come back, please, Brother Jammers.
Yeah, just in relation to this, see the form of religion, or what we've been given, is a mental tranquilizer. You know, it's a pacifier. You know, it takes the power away from us wanting to do it and knowing that we can do it for ourselves, and letting us sit back and wait on this mystery person, you know, who to come to our assistance, you know, and the mystery person doesn't look like us, you know, or and his son doesn't look like us either, you know. So it's taking us away from our identity and our ability to do things for ourselves, you know, and making us fall in love again with the oppressor's beliefs and the oppressor's ways of doing things, making us go on our knees and beg for forgiveness, you know, for the suffering that he's caused on us. One thing I'd just like to say in relation to the wars that are taking place, it's not like a normal war that's taking place. The wars that are taking place within the Congo are commercial wars. Basically, the armies are it's not to defeat the enemy. It's a commercial enterprise, you know. Basically, the armies, you know, they get money by corruption and bribery. You know, they even sell weapons to each other. You know, so it's the business that's taking place, and that's another aspect of what's happening in the Congo. That armies are commercial enterprises that are corrupt and making money, and all this is once again has been put in the paradox to keep the main agenda away from us. We're so distracted by all of this that, as I said, the now natural resources, which is the future of the world, is getting extracted while all this is taking place. You know?
For real, Brother Jammers, as always, you know, some powerful words you've just dropped there, you know, and as you were describing us being on our knees, begging, you know, for help and forgiveness, and from those who have put us in the situation that we're in, it just reminds me of the images that you sometimes see of us. You know, that one of the enslaved African on his knees begging with the chains round his hand. If we think those who are oppressing us with one hand is going to then liberate us with the other hand, we are completely out of our mind. If we think praying to the God of the oppressor is going to give us the liberation that we need, you know, why would the God of the oppressor look to liberate us and oppress, you know, his subject who looks like him? You know, we are so out of our mind. If our ancestors didn't get up from off their knees and fight for their liberation and fight for their freedom, we would still be enslaved today as Africans. And that's the truth. That's why we've got to remember and rise up our heroes and sheroes and tell their stories to our children. Being on our knees begging didn't liberate us. It was standing up on our feet and fighting that did it. Yes, Brother Jammers.
No, just as he never turned up to the genocide, he never turned up to slavery, he never turned up to COVID. So this God that people are, whether he's never turned up, you know, my parents have looked for this and passed away, and he's never turned up. You know, so this we've got to come to our senses and stop falling in this land of make believe. Because when you make something up and you believe it, it's make believe, which is a fantasy. You know, we're never going to get liberation on a fantasy.
We hear you on that. So true. We will never get liberated on a fantasy. The power lies within. It is up to us to do what needs to be done in order to liberate ourselves. And what we're saying today is that we've got to start making Congo the center of our liberation struggle. We've got to start calling on liberation for the Congo, standing up for the Congo and recognizing what's going on there, and also recognizing those traitors among us who are complicit in the destruction and the demise of the Congo, and realize that to a large extent, if we're not fighting against what's going on, then we are willing participants in what is going on. Let me quickly go over to the chat again and bring in one or two more questions. Sister Afri Jammer and Mr. IC3, I can see have been having a long conversation there about the color black. We're going to do a separate show on that, and we'll just have to agree to disagree on some things. It's okay if we have different points of view. Let's see what King Ja has to say. Rise up, King Ja. Welcome to the debate. He says Congo should adopt the classic song by our great ancestor Bunny Wailer Livingston entitled Power Strugglers as their national anthem. They might just learn something worthwhile from that. I'm going to have to check that song out as well, by Bunny Wailer Livingston, entitled Power Strugglers. I think we do need an anthem song for the Congo. Let's adopt that as an anthem song. I think King Ja may have just found an anthem song for us. Sister Francine and Brother Albert, please check out those songs. Let us know if you think it's a suitable liberation song that we can adopt for the Congo. We also need some flags and some banners that says stand for the Congo. We need that with all the other African flags on it. We need to get all of Africa standing for the Congo. And yeah, absolutely. Let me just quickly flick through and says I see Mr. G says, no, Dr. Aboo Ratato's wrong. Congo must wake up and do what? He has no solution. Congo cannot go back. Congo has to get support from a new global black entity. So what is that new global black entity? Do we need to create it, or does it already exist? What is this new global black entity? What I do know is that at the moment we are operating and functioning within their constraints, within their organizations, within their institutions, within the paradigm that they have set for us. We need to get ourselves out of that if we're going to be able to get ourselves into the situation, or out of this situation that we find ourselves in. Dr. Aboo, I wonder if you picked up anything from that comment there. Would you like to respond? Oh, take yourself off mute, please, Dr. Aboo, so that we can hear your contribution.
Rise up, and this is where we're going, because we think said everything is new. And it have to be certified. What I'm saying, it's there laid dormant, you understand? You know, we need to get out of the universe and get into a multiverse. Because this three thing that we in a three-dimensional is just a prisoner here. We in multiple dimensions. And the power of African people, the power of our thoughts, if we start to use this and line this with nature, then I'm telling you, you see, we are fretting about their weaponry, but it's out there. Nature is our weaponry, but we come off that frequency. When we talk to African people about let's plan for 10 years. Let's plan for 20. Let's plan for even 5 years. Then tell you that the Lord soon come and the Father come and all this will come. And this is not African talk. This is a kind of thing where we use and sell we sell short. That's why we're in this predicament. Because somebody in our corner sit down about, boy, it's revelation, you know, and the Lord will come and all of these things. And that is the mind that we have to come out of and plan that the next generation can have a proper future. And so I see it.
Let me go down and unmute myself. Sorry about that. Rise up, Dr. Aboo. You're right. We are multidimensional people. We're not in our right mind. If we were in our right mind, we would be able to think our way out of the problem that we see ourselves in. Look at the geniuses that we have in Africa. Look at what they're creating. Look at some of the new inventions that our African brothers and sisters are coming up with. Imagine, you know, if we had our own African governments who knew how to embrace those new developments and technologies, you know, we would be in a different situation altogether. Absolutely. Brother Jammers, I'm going to bring you back in just for a short moment here, because Dr. Aboo touched on something powerful about us being multidimensional and have the capability within our own minds to be able to transform ourselves from the situation that we find ourselves in. And I just wonder if you could add to that a bit more, because we are the Almighty. We are the Almighty.
Yeah, well, basically, you see, the paradigm is shifting. These people have been able to hide their spirit and their nature in the paradigm of physiology, mentally, under the mental game or the physical realm. You know, so with materialism and heroism, like you see in all the movies, you know, we've been aspiring to be like them and not seeing the nature of who they really are. When we have a debate like this or a panel like this coming together, what is happening now? The paradox is changing, where now we are moving into a realm where we can actually see the spirit of the people behind the mechanisms that they're put in place. The first thing that they do from scarcity and training animals is to break the spirit. What they've done to us is to break the spirit and keep it broken by giving us this religion that keeps us worshipping a dead spirit. It's celebrating the dead spirit, because this man's on the cross, he's dead. You know, the rising of a dead spirit. Well, we have to restore our normal, our true spiritual nature to see the person for who they really are. Then we will naturally be able to do what we need to do to remove them from our presence. You know, and they would have no influence on us, because once we get our true nature, nothing can change like the nature of a cat or a nature of the bird. You know, it's stuck in its nature, you know, and nothing will change it. And this is the original spirit of the African who fought to their death. They prefer to fight to their death than live as a slave. And we need to get that spirituality back to us, where the men rise up to fight for their women and fight for their children. They want to remove the love of the woman, which they have. But we need to get that spirit back to us, that we're ready to fight for the death. That's what we need to do.
Can I just add anything there?
Yes. Let me bring you in, Sister Francine, and then we'll bring in Brother Albert.
Okay, I'm just gonna
let me just mute Brother Albert so we don't get any disturbances from his end. Yeah, go ahead, okay. Sister Francine.
Thank you again. I just want to add what Brother Jamie was saying, and Elder Aboo is all this spirituality too, and our belief and everything you say to take place. Apart from what I was saying, we need to fix ourselves economically. Is also we need to educate our people. Our people, many people, they don't know our people. They don't know their past. We need to know where we've been. We need to know our past. You can't just go there with what we know. There's a friend of mine called Seferin Pombe. He experienced the war in Congo because he's from the eastern part of Congo. which is and then he keep fighting for that. He is a very spiritual person, believe in spirituality and stuff, even though he used to be Catholic before. So it's something he always say, if we don't know where we've been, we will not gonna be able to know where we are going. And it's very difficult to be able to educate people about the right, about who they are. If they don't know who they are, they need to know who they are. They need to know where they've been. They need to know. They need to learn about the heroes, the past heroes. We only see, as the brother John was talking, we only see in the film, but we have a lot of queens like Nzinga. We have a lot of Kim Pamvita, Yasantua. I'm talking just female. When I start talking about male, is even long list. We need to, our people need to know that. They need to learn. And for that, when we educate our people, we'll be able, when they will be, oh, they were glorious things in our past, they'll be able to go back, because those people, they were spiritual. As like I say, one of the friend of mine very close to me, Open always say, we can scream, say no, they have to go back to spiritual. But if they don't know the past, you're not gonna be able. You scream like you're screaming. You're talking with the wind. They know. They will not going to listen to you. So education of the past is very important. People tend to forget. Sometimes when I say to people, look at slavery. When you look at slavery, sometimes when I read a lot of things about slavery, and then I look at colonialism, I'm like, come on, we need to learn from the past. Because slavery was okay, we're taking these people to a new world, America, yeah? And then after that, we enslaved them there. And then, okay, they changed, it was slavery. And then colonialism is still slavery, but they enslave people in the land instead of taking them to America. So our people need to know the history. Without the history, Dr. Aboo, Brother Jama, your spirituality is not going to work. They're not going to believe you. So education, knowing your past, knowing who you are, know your identity, because the war is also to do with identity. Know your identity, then things will work out. You're not even going to work to convince people. People just going to do, they're going to change automatically like that. But without knowing the past, it's very, very difficult thing. This is what I usually do, educate people about my nieces, my nephews, about our past. So for them to be proud who they are.
Yes. Point well made. Point well made, Sister Francine. The importance of history and knowing our greatness of who we are. Because if we don't know how great we are, you know, it's like Brother Jammers was saying, it's like waking up under a mango tree and not knowing anything about yourself and who you are and what you're capable of. Let's go over to Brother Albert, where these are, you know, there's a lot of solutions to the problems that we're talking about as well. The importance of teaching our people their history, teaching our people knowledge of who they are, their greatness, their former greatness. Education is key, because once we are in our right minds, we will know exactly what we need to do as a people. What say you, Brother Albert? Oh, let me take you off mute because you're still muted.
Okay, now it's closed and open itself. Okay, I just want to say 2-3 words. First, coming back to the concept of spirituality, my idea is that spirituality is not something passive, or it should not be some kind of romanticism. So it must imply a kind of commitment focused on central values for a human life, for a human being life, which can be called a real human life. I think that is the purpose of all kind of spirituality, and this is to make things a bit clear. And this must focus and commit with central values, which are very, very important. If we lose those values of humanity, of solidarity, of honesty, or the struggle against corruption, for example, we are totally lost. We are not spiritual. We can be in churches day and night. It will produce really nothing. And then I agree with you in the distinction between religion as a kind of ritual which is practiced every time, and this kind of conviction, part of a kind of hygiene of life that must accompany everyone in the daily life. It is really important. And one of the things that I would also like to put on light is the importance of the education for the people to know our past. It is important, but as we have first to question ourselves, how many people in Africa are aware that they are concerned by this concept of slavery? It took me several years to realize that slaves in Latin America or in America were part of my own history. So it is a kind of something which is very distant for many African people. It is a kind of history creation, but they don't feel themselves immediately concerned. Maybe our education system should take this into consideration, connecting it with our recent history and going deep in causes, real causes of this kind of permanent or chronic poverty of our population. It is not the will of God, or every time the fails from our ancestors that we keep or put us in this situation. We are in a system which created and maintains this kind of scarcity, this kind of poverty, not only material, economic, but also intellectual. Because we assimilate things, we learn a lot of books, but we reproduce what we learn, but we do not apply it to our own reality. I have been joking with friends, and at the same time thinking of it deeply. We know some guys who wanted to study agronomy. What is the topic of your research? The agriculture of, I can say, what do you call this? The potatoes here in Europe, or the culture for potatoes in Europe, just to give an example. But in Africa, they have cassava. They have a lot of product they need for their daily life. But this guy specialized in potatoes doesn't want to know nothing about cassava, even about its transformation, to make it a kind of industrial product. So this is a kind of dichotomy which I think should disappear to our mind and should be even erased from our educational systems. We like to learn things from abroad, which is interesting, but we at the same time do not pay attention and give enough values to our daily life, our own product that we have. So I think that is the past is important, but the present also is really very, very important and asks for real commitment. And it is not an issue of only political, but everyone at its own level, maybe an NGO or kind of researcher, as we are carrying it out and talking through this media, is important. I would like to, speaking of it, the importance of media in this context of war is really important. We have been talking of technology, but all the informations that are transmitted from both the parts, the exploit, the Congolese, and also from Rwanda, is also the war of technology, which is really important. And we should manage and try to educate people also in approaching the media or informations that are transmitted through those medias to fix where is the truth and which is constructive and which is not. So that is it for now, and I can stop there. Thank you.
Thank you so much, brother Albert. A lot has been said there. Absolutely agree. You know, on the one hand, it's really important for our people to know their history, because once they know who they are and how great they were and their ancestors were, that'll make them realize how great they are. But also, we need to be concentrating on today, the present as well, and the importance of getting our people the correct mindset. The fact that a lot of our people see foreign as the best and everything foreign as being better than what we've got in Africa is part of the indoctrination, is part of the miseducation, is part of the programming and the brainwashing that our people are going through on a daily basis. And that is what we're up against, and we've got to be countering. And I think, you know, it requires people like yourself, Brother Albert, Sister Francine, Brother Jammers, Dr. Aboo, to be writing the books. We've got to get into the minds of our children. It might be too late for, you know, those of our age, but if we can get to the mind of our children, is this not what the missionaries did when they come to Africa? Did they not get into the minds of the children and corrupt the minds of the children into believing in this mythical God that's going to come out the sky and save them? And if they go on their knees for long enough and pray to this mythical God, all would be okay. It doesn't matter that they're getting whipped and that their hands are being chopped off. It's, you know, be thankful it's not your foot that's been chopped off as well. I mean, this is a kind of teaching that has taken us from out of our right mind. And, you know, as our brother Jammers is saying, what we don't realize is that we're worshipping something that's dead, a dead spirit. But what we had with spirituality was something that was very much alive. And yes, when we talk about going back to African spirituality, it does include our values, it does include our principles, it does include our culture. And if we put value in our culture, value in our principles, value in who we are in a people, then we will value each other and everything that we stand for. We will value our land, we will value the resources, we will value everything that grows out of the land, even the cassava, because we will realize that, you know, that is what's better for us as a people. And so the job that needs to be done in terms of getting us into our right mind, the media has a major role to play in that as well. And everybody who's a journalist from an African perspective needs to be coming with our own narrative and speaking to our own people. Media is a weapon of war, as well as, you know, economics being a weapon of war, the pharmaceutical industry being a weapon of war, you know, the mercenaries obviously on the ground that are being financed by the corporations are used as a weapon of war, are used to distract us and to cause mayhem while they continue to plunder, you know, our resources. And so there's a lot that's happening on a multiplicity of levels, but there's so much that we can do, so much more that we can do to change the situation as it stands today. On the topic of changing the mindset, just want to let everyone know that we've got our brother Franklin Jones Black next Wednesday. Brother Franklin Jones, who is the man who tells us, I mean, Brother Albert, please make sure that you tune in next strong, as you as well, Sister Francine. This is so educative. The information that he comes with about how to transform our mind and the social engineering and the psychological conditioning that he talks about that we are under. This is someone who was in the army. This is someone who was taught psychological warfare, and he's teaching us how we are the victims of psychological warfare on a daily basis. And when you realize that it's happening, then you can switch it off. But if you don't even know that it's happening and that we're being psychologically programmed on a daily basis to like everything foreign and to hate everything African, we won't even realize why we've lost our identity. We haven't lost our identity. We've run away from it. We've disowned it. We don't want to know it because, you know, it's been made to look so awful compared to this over here, which we're told we can have, which is meant to look so beautiful and angelic and wonderful, you know? So the psychological brainwashing is also very much something that is being used as a weapon of war that we've got to fight against. We are 10 minutes away from the top of the hour. We've got 10 minutes more. So I'm going to go around the table and give 2 minutes to each of our presenters to give us some closing remarks. To all of you in the audience who have been commenting, thank you so, so much. Let me just pull out one random. Tuka Pamoja, who says the European, they don't want a fraction. They don't want a quarter or even half. They want the whole damn thing. And that's the problem that we've got. We're living amongst people. We have people in our backyard who don't want to share. They want the whole damn lot. Let me hear some words from each of you in closing. Brother Jammers, let me give you your 2 minutes now, my brother.
You give them a piece and they want the whole cake, you know? And this is the type of nature that they have coming from scarcity. They have no balance, so no concept of sharing, you know. So we have to know the nature of the person, nature of the species, you know, so that we're not fooled by them anymore, you know. What's it going to take for us to actually become aware and do for ourselves, you know, and throw away everything that's been given to them? But this is a perfect case study. What is going on in the Congo, the different dynamics of it. It applies to all of us in different ways. There's a little bit of the Congo going on with all of us at this present moment. So we shouldn't be separated from the Congo. We should become assimilate with the Congo. And that way we can work out the solutions that we need to take, the steps that we need to take. One thing is the past can't be changed, but the future has ample possibilities of change. And that's what we have to look for, creating our future. Cool.
I love that. Rise up. Brother Jammers, the past can't be changed, but the future has ample possibilities. Wow. Thank you for that. Dr. Aboo.
Yeah, Voodoo family, you know. I'm here in the UK where the sun I give them some rat to do a lick where them a hide and them a duck and them a, you know, see what I'm saying? Nature will deal with them. That is our spirituality. If we are talking about economic, make our spirituality the binding tool in it. If we are talking about war, aim, army, make our spirituality become the binding tool in it. Because I could never, I look for my liberation in Jesus' name and all of these corruption. Full time, we be honest with ourselves and give some more respect to our women because they play a great role in our liberation. But today, too, we have these pastors and imams, these little freaks and all of these things. That's why we are in this serious trouble because we think there's man run this thing. Yeah. But you see, we have to give respect to the womb that bore us. And that's the thing that, like the Congo is like the womb. You understand? And we abuse it. We abuse it because we want to be somebody else. I'm not here to apologize to no one. You understand? No one at all. You know, the European is a threat to I and I, home and abroad. And the full time we stand up and stop us, look on them as a look at tourists. They are not tourists. They are terrorists. Voodoo.
Dr. Aboo, links right there to what Brother Jammers is saying. About time we started studying the nature of the species that we are entertaining. They are terrorists. They are certainly terrorizing our people all over the continent and all over the world right now. Thank you, Dr. Aboo. Let me go over to Brother Albert for some closing remarks on today's topic.
Okay, as a concluding remark, I can just say, first, thank you for inviting me to join this really interesting panel, for sharing really insightful presentations with the colleagues. And it has been really, for me, very instructive and relevant, as I said at the beginning. We spoke about the Congo, which is an interesting case, not because I am a native of Congo, but because it illustrates how far our continent has been and still suffering from some international structures who, by different means, try to maintain the exploitation and the domination on African people. And it is really important that you and colleagues, we can meet, we can exchange, we can stand not only for Congo, but for Africa. Because if we do not do it ourselves, I'm quite sure that nobody else will do it for us. Or if he does, we have to pay for. So I think it is better to do it ourselves than relying on a foreign to do it for us. So I think that there is a hope if we continue working in this way and supporting each other, exchanging initiatives and projects. So once again, thank you so much. And we still kept in touch, I want to say. Thank you.
Share.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And as Natty Bay says, developed minds evolve progressively. The universe is evolving all the time. Let's develop our minds and evolve our minds progressively as well. Let's go over to Sister Francine for some closing remarks.
What I thank you. What I'll say first of all, thank you for everyone. I really learned a lot as well through this interview, which was really informative for me as well. Thank you, Sister, for the invitation. My close remark would be to do with the solution. I think we already mentioned many of them. But what I would say is we need to all to come together and support Congo people, because they need our support. And we demand justice for Congo, for justice for all the crime committed in Congo, and reparation. Because we didn't have much time to talk about reparation, but it's one of the important things that are affecting us in a community, as people, as African people, whether in diaspora or in Africa. So we demand justice and reparation. If we come together, if we can do it even for our women, because the war in Congo, many women has been raped. Rape is used as a weapon of war. So if we care about women, if we care about our queens, like we like to say, we need to say something about the war in Congo, because women are victims. If we care about our futures, our children, we need to say something about Congo, because many who are dying in Congo, more than 6 million, majority are young people under the age of 5. So if we care about children, our future, we need to say something. We need to be moved. We need to be part of this fight. If we care about, people talk about climate change, but people seem to forget that Congo has the second rainforest after the Amazon. In fact, now Amazon is burning, Congo equatorial forest probably will be the first one. The biggest forest, the second biggest forest in the world is in our land. It's in Africa, and precisely in Congo. So if you are spiritual, you know the importance of forest, the importance of sand, the importance of land. You need to say something, because there's a lot of Chinese companies are destroying that spirituality, that land, which is part of our identity. So we need to be moved even for that. If we care about, we have all these people are saying, there's anger in Africa and stuff, but we have a lot of lake. One of the lake is a Tanganyika lake that can feed the entire Africa. The fish are dying, the fish are born and die. So if we care about, we want to eradicate poverty, we need to find a solution in Congo. So it's really important. And the last part is, we want electricity. Congo can light entire Africa with the project of Inga, but that can never happen if the country is still unstable. So we need to be part of it. We need to have a solution. If we have peace in Congo, like we brought peace in South Africa during apartheid, if we manage, we come together as a people, as one people, we put all our personal interests, like Kagame is thinking, the personal interest, they're using him. If we put all these personal interests apart and we focus on the heart of Africa, there will be solution. There will be tomorrow, today, we can see this brother Jamal go invest in a mine. You can't. They will not give you opportunity now. But if we have a peaceful, prosperous Congo, you'll be able to have you can invest it in Congo instead of having this guy who I don't mind people coming out abroad and invest, but Tesla guy is making billion. Why your land? So we need to think about all that. So thank you so much. I'm not going to say much.
Thank you so much. Let me just bring in a final comment from the chat in response to the conversations that we've been having today. And can I ask everyone in the chat as well to please put some comments in the comment section under the video. So after you've left the broadcast, please do put a comment under the video, especially the ones like G-Man 2017, who says absolute and on point. This show was fantastic and gripping as per usual, respecting all aspects of which is good, right, fair and just for our beautiful, beautiful culture and formidable community. Thank you so much for that wonderful comment. To everyone in the chat that has stayed with us throughout the evening, we value you, we appreciate, love you. Thank you so much. To our wonderful audience, we seem to have lost our brother Albert. Okay, he's back. Let's add him for the final part here. To everyone in our panel, thank you so much. We've covered so much in the conversation that we've been having today about the Congo. Absolutely agree. Congo is our solution. Congo is Africa's solution. Congo is the solution to us as Africans wherever we are in the world. If we manage to solve the problem of Congo, we manage to solve, the situation that we as Africans find ourselves in everywhere. Congo is paying the price for Western advances in technology. Congo is paying the price for being the wealthiest piece of real estate in the world. It is an economic war that has been waged against Congo by some spiritless people. And we need to find back our spirit so that we can elevate ourselves above these spiritless people and see how and know how we need to deal with them. Rwanda is playing a wicked and evil role in the destabilization of the Congo, and we need to recognize that as well. It is criminal, it's genocide, and as has been said earlier, I think it's by Brothers Jammers, a lot of genocide and assassinations and rapes that Sister Francine has been talking about has been taking place, and no action taken. These people should be in the criminal courts for what's happening and what's going on in the Congo right now. Congo is being used to help to advance the one world order, to help to advance their globalization agenda. They have the likes of Tony Blair, Bill Clinton's and the like in Africa, running it remotely through their administrators that they've got in the various government departments. This is a new form of neo-colonialism that's happening while we allow it to happen. We are the majority people on the planet, and we are allowing, this minority species who have no feelings or love towards us as a people to be able to come among us and to do whatever it is they want to do, chop off our hands and foot, chain us up, do whatever it is we want to do. We would have to be and must be out of our right minds to allow that situation to happen. We seem to be able to find rebel soldiers. We seem to be able to find rebel forces to cause major destruction and mayhem against our women, against our children, in our villages where our elderly are. But where are our rebel rebellions, and where are our men and our armies who are there to protect the women, who are there to protect the children, who are there to protect the villages, protect the people in the families in the compounds, and to protect our communities? Where are, you know, our armies, the People's Army, who are protecting the women, who are protecting the children? Yes, it's a complex situation, but our people need to get up off their knees and stand up and start recognizing that they have the power that is needed in order to bring about the change that we want to see as a people. Where are our armies, the People's Armies, who is going to be protecting us as a people? Agree, we need to study the species that we're living amongst. We don't understand them. We don't understand their mindset that comes from scarcity, that comes from spending tens of thousands of years in the ice age. We are a people of abundance, so we will give and we will share because we have abundance. But when you come from a place of scarcity, where you've had to eat your mother, eat your child, practice cannibalism because of the scarcity, it is in your DNA that at some point in time, there is this fear, this unimaginable fear that's in their DNA that they are going to be without. And so it doesn't matter how fat their bank accounts are. It doesn't matter how much food they've got in their fridge or their cupboard, or how high the mountain of food is in their own country. They want more because of this fear for scarcity. And unless we study these people and understand their nature and their characteristics and who they really are, we will forever be victims, because we do not understand that they will smile with you today to enslave you tomorrow. So we really need to learn from our history. Education is key. Knowledge of our history is key, but we also need to be educating the children of today who are going to be the adults of tomorrow, so that they grow up with the right mindset. This mindset that we have today, that everything foreign is good, is a terrible situation that we find ourselves in. And if we feel that anything is better than where we have, just know say, you know your right mind. Yeah, if you feel say the clothes, Western clothes is better than African clothes, you're not in your right mind. If you feel say European food is better than your African food, you're not in your right mind. If you feel anything where them have better than where we have, or if you feel say them can do anything better than where we can do, you're not in your right mind. You're out of your right mind as an African, because if you knew the greatness of our history, if you knew how great we were and therefore how great we are, you know, our people were the ones who invented astronomy, astrology, who could map the stars, who were traveling to space. As our people that built the pyramids, that created the mathematics in order to do so. You know, if we realized how great we were, these people who we don't understand, these other species have totally destroyed evidence of our history, or they've whitewashed it to the point where they're claiming credit for our history. And so we don't know the greatness of who we are as a people, and we continue to worship their dead spirit. When it's time we returned to ourselves, return to our culture, to pride in who we are as a people, in our identity, and that will rise us up. The greater that spirit of pride, the greater the energy we have in who we are as a people, the more formidable we will become as a race of people. There's so much more that I could say, but I'm gonna leave it there because of time. But I want to thank every single member of the panel for your contribution today. I want to thank everyone in the chat. Certainly hope that you all were having a good chat. Lots of conversations going on in there. please do remember to put some comments under the video in the comment section. Brother John Kofi, thank you for your £5 super chat. Much appreciated. So everyone, you know, who has contributed today, to everyone who continues to contribute towards the upliftment, the advancement, and the furtherance of us as a people, we celebrate you. We thank you. More love, more peace, more power, more voodoo. Sister Shanice and the beautiful panel out of here for now. See you next Wednesday. Thank you, panel.
Thank you.
Thank
you.
How do I say goodbye in your language,
okay.
Brother
Ciao, ciao. Good
ciao,
night.
ciao. Oh,
you say kende malam, bo kende malam.
Papuanana.
Say it again, please.
Bo kende malam.
Buke manano. Oh, buke no mano. One love, family. One love.
More voodoo.
And more voodoo. Black at you. Sister Shanice out of here for now.
Okay.